Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star original continent based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng and Truyang Knight exchanged eye contact. They had both received the email from the virtual universe system at the same time. I've never been to a Supreme Council meeting, Truyang Knight said. Same. Luo Feng smiled. Let's go. They both connected to the virtual universe with their minds. Go to Pantheon Mountain, Luo Feng whispered in his palace. Pantheon Sanctuary on Pantheon Mountain was where the Supreme Council meeting was held. Since the Supreme Council meeting was being held today, Pantheon Mountain would open automatically when the virtual universe system sent the notifications through email. It was, however, normally closed. Clouds surrounded the mountains. One great being showed up after another, including Luo Feng and Truyang Knight. Some universe knights greeted Luo Feng warmly when he showed up. Blade River. Luo Feng. Luo Feng. 9 flames, thunder. Luo Feng greeted them one by one. He was close with quite a few human universe knights. Luo Feng, Bark Mirror Emperor, has brought you lots of trouble after being revived, a winged man said with a smile. A soul-type true treasure and a flying palace-type true treasure. Perhaps they will attract lots of universe overlords of other races. You need to be careful in the future. Luo Feng said, it is indeed a bit tricky, but if those other races want to kill me, they need to decide whether they are powerful enough to do that or not. They'll stay away unless they want to be killed by me. The winged man held the wineglass. It's a wonder you're able to remain calm even under such circumstances. It's clear to see where Blade River gets his reputation. Stop making fun of me, bloody wing. Luo Feng smiled and shook his head. Although Luo Feng had met quite a few universe knights, most of them were only acquaintances. Only a few of them were his actual friends. Bloody Wing Knight was one of them. Bloody Wing Knight was known for his aloofness, but Luo Feng and Bloody Wing Knight enjoyed each other's company. To be honest, Bloody Wing Knight said, lowering his voice, the news revealed by Bark Mirror Emperor was indeed surprising. If I belonged to the other races, I would try to attack you. I understand. Luo Feng nodded. Look around. Bloody Wing Knight said. Luo Feng glanced around and saw more than 1,000 universe knights nearby, and there were more in the distance. Some of those he didn't know looked at him significantly, as if they had been talking about him. However, Luo Feng couldn't hear the others' conversations, just as the others couldn't hear his conversation with Bloody Wing Knight. I bet many universe knights are talking about you, Bloody Wing Knight said. Especially those you don't know. Many of them are jealous of you. Jealous? Luo Feng was surprised. There are 2 groups of beings on Pantheon Mountain, Bloody Wing Knight explained. One is here, and those who gather here are 4-starred, 5-starred and 6-starred great beings. They have the power of elementary universe knights, secondary universe knights, and senior universe knights, respectively. The other place is where the 7-starred overlords and universe masters gather. Luo Feng nodded. Indeed, he didn't see any universe overlord around him. The most powerful ones gathering here are at my level, senior universe knights, Bloody Wing Knight continued. Few senior universe knights have a true treasure, whereas secondary universe knights and elementary universe knights don't have any. Usually, universe overlords have several true treasures. As for you, Luo Feng, you're indeed exceptional, but you still can't compare with universe overlords. Yet you have 6 true treasures. And 2 of them are soul type and flying palace type. That's excessive even for universe overlords. How could the universe knights here not be jealous of you? Bloody Wing Knight smiled. Even I am a bit jealous. Luo Feng laughed. Of course, they are humans, so nobody will attack you, Bloody Wing Knight said. However, those universe knights who don't know you might try to exclude you out of jealousy. Exclude me? Luo Feng whispered. Because they are bitter, Bloody Wing Knight said. Then I'll convince them with my power, Luo Feng said. If I can rival universe overlords or even surpass universe overlords in the future, they'll have to respect me. Then you need to become a universe knight. Bloody Wing Knight smiled. Luo Feng gazed into the distance. The great beings from the huge Axe Dojo, the Universe First Bank, the Universe Star River Bank, and the Universe Mercenary Alliance were all talking about this issue with their friends. At least 6 true treasures. Luo Feng didn't have the valuable, or the treasure bestowed by Thunder Beast God, when he was being hunted by Bark Mirror Emperor in 9 remoteness space. However, he already had 3 true treasures. In particular, that soul-type true treasure. He was only a sector lord back then. How was he able to obtain a true treasure? It had to be given to him by a great being. Yes, Primal Chaos City leader favors him too much. How could he just give a soul-type true treasure to a sector lord? We Universe Knights don't even have ordinary true treasures, whereas he could get a soul-type true treasure as only a sector lord. The more they talked about it, the more unfair they thought it was. Why? Why would a sector lord be qualified to have 3 true treasures? Especially a soul-type true treasure. Lots of universe overlords within the human race didn't have soul-type true treasures. Even if Primal Chaos City leader had treasures, he shouldn't have just given them all away. It couldn't convince anyone. Although they were upset, none of them dared to talk about it with Primal Chaos City leader. After all, he was the supreme leader of the Virtual Universe Company. They were not entitled to pick a fight with him. Time passed, and more universe knights gathered on Pantheon Mountain. The Supreme Council meeting was about to be held. Luo Feng. True Yang Knight walked towards Luo Feng. Luo Feng turned around. Teacher. True Yang Knight blocked the sound around them and said, "It seems that lots of universe knights are upset about you obtaining 3 true treasures, when you were only a sector lord, especially the soul-type true treasure. Many of them think that Primal Chaos City leader has been unfair. Do you think you ought to go to Primal Chaos City leader and tell him about this? 3 true treasures when I was a sector lord. Unfair." Luo Feng didn't even know how to react. Primal Chaos City leader had only given him 1 true treasure, Shawu Wing. Both Star Map and Tower Pearl had been given to him by Zhuoshan Ku. Especially the soul-type true treasure Tower Pearl. It was a vital component of Star Tower, the center of the sealed space. It had nothing to the human race. Well. Luo Feng hesitated. He didn't know what to say. Surely he couldn't say that it was given to him by Zhuoshan Ku. "I'll think of something," Luo Feng said, shaking his head. "It doesn't matter that they are talking about this. I can't expect to be close with all the great beings. Some of them are my friends, some of them are jealous, and some of them are my foes. It doesn't matter." "It doesn't matter to you," True Yang Knight said. "However, it will affect Primal Chaos City leader's reputation. Even if Primal Chaos City leader did bestow me a valuable," said Luo Feng, "he gave me his own valuables instead of using the shared resources of the human race. He can do whatever he wants with them. Just let the others be jealous." Luo Feng smirked. Besides, Primal Chaos City leader earned his status by his invincible power. Primal Chaos City leader was invincible in the primal universe. With this advantage, no matter how biased people thought he was, nothing could sway his status. The issue was that Primal Chaos City leader had been fair and just. Reckless universe masters didn't draw any complaints, even when they did something preposterous, but many great beings would be upset if they thought Primal Chaos City leader was biased. More and more great beings gathered on Pantheon Mountain. All the universe knights looked up and saw 2 golden doors open gradually. There were stars on the doors, and the location of the meeting was in the floating palace on Pantheon Mountain known as Pantheon Sanctuary. A voice resounded down the mountain. "Human great beings, gather." All the universe knights on Pantheon Mountain disappeared and were transported to Pantheon Sanctuary. The doors closed. Inside Pantheon Sanctuary stood a gigantic round table with exquisite sculptures on it. Luo Feng could only see a portion of the table while the other part was blurry, as if it was surrounded by mist. Luo Feng sat on one of the thrones surrounding the round table. Luo Feng touched the arms of the chair and turned around. He saw the words, Blade River, etched on the chair. He looked around. So many universe knights. There were many universe knights sitting at the bottom, and they were all elementary universe knights. They had the smallest thrones, and each was around 6 feet wide. The thrones of secondary universe knights were around 30 feet wide. Those of senior universe knights were around 160 feet wide. Luo Feng sat on a 30-foot wide one. He was only able to see elementary universe knights, secondary universe knights, and senior universe knights. As for universe overlords and universe masters, he couldn't see them at all. Luo Feng stroked the throne and exclaimed, "The throne fits my godly body perfectly." His hands fit on the chair's arms precisely. Densely surrounding the gigantic, round table, the numerous thrones were divided into 5 different classes: 6 feet wide, 30 feet wide, 160 feet wide, 650 feet wide, and 3,200 feet wide. All the great beings had thrones that fit their godly bodies perfectly. Among them, some universe overlords, like the Heaven Erosion Palace Lord, Jufeng Knight, and Undying Knight, were seated on the 650-foot wide thrones. And at the top, on towering thrones way high up, many universe masters were seated at the highest tier where they looked down at all the other human great beings. They were super beings from the 5 forces of the human race. All of the towering, 3,200-foot wide thrones were made of dazzling gold except the 2 towering ones right in the middle, which were black and emanated an air of power. One of the 2 black thrones had a faint sculpture of a huge axe. Seated on this throne was a giant with thick fingers and messy, long hair that made him look like a barbarian. The black throne next to him was empty. No one occupied that seat. The other golden thrones were filled by towering figures. Primal Chaos City Leader, the barbaric giant said, looking to the golden throne on his left where Primal Chaos City Leader sat today. He said with a smile, "You are very biased towards Luo Feng. This appears to have brought about much discontent from many universe knights. They are discontented, and I am not surprised. A soul-type true treasure. Primal Chaos City Leader, your disciple, Gui Yi, he also has power that matches a universe overlord, and he always stays by your side, yet he does not seem to own a soul-type true treasure. He hasn't gotten one, and Luo Feng received one way back, when he was merely a sector lord. I'm afraid Gui Yi Knight would somehow find it unfair." "Discontented my foot," someone shouted. All at once, voices could be heard from the dozens of thrones that were enshrouded by a foggy mist. A soul-piercing cold permeated the air. To bestow them with valuables is showing them kindness. Not giving them any valuable is just a matter of due course. Want a true treasure? They can fight with each other. Primal Chaos City Leader can choose to bestow a soul-type true treasure to whomever he decides. No one else has the right to say anything more. If you ask me, I think we should mete out punishment to one as a deterrent to the rest. The one who rejoices the most ought to be put behind bars in the prison of the primal universe. That is too much. We should never subject ourselves to the discussions of the knights down there. They did not rob nor kill. They have done nothing to deserve being sent to prison. Everyone, said Primal Chaos City Leader. Seated on his golden throne, he flashed a smile. I may be extremely fond of this disciple, but the way I work is clear to everyone. I would never bestow upon Luo Feng a soul-type true treasure, when he was a mere sector lord. The other universe masters, including the giant on the black throne, looked over. It was true. Primal Chaos City Leader was known for being a most impartial and authoritative leader. After all, to attain such a great existence as that of a universe master truly required one to have the patience to manage all matters, and to plan and make arrangements for unexpected events of the race. There were many universe masters who simply could not be bothered with such matters. However, Primal Chaos City Leader had the patience. And he had always been much respected. When Luo Feng was a sector lord, he had 3 true treasures, said Primal Chaos City Leader. Only the Shawu wings were bestowed by me. The other 2, came from my disciple's miraculous encounters, in which Lady Luck smiled upon him. He got the true treasures by himself. Those true treasures are not common, they are not easily obtainable, even if one meets with miracles. They are usually left behind by super beings on purpose, for their successors. We should not be bothered about which super beings. Anyway, it is a good thing when these true treasures fall into the hands of us humans. Ha ha ha. Correct. Regardless of who left the treasures behind for their successors, they belong to Luo Feng. No matter what, priority should always be given to the human. Thereafter, we can look into the roots of these true treasures. No wonder. I was not convinced when I heard that Primal Chaos City Leader bestowed 3 true treasures on Luo Feng. Primal Chaos City Leader is not one of such a character. Now I see why this situation made no sense to me. The words echoed from the dozens of thrones, everyone trying to be heard at once. The other knights are waiting, so let us commence the meeting, said the barbaric giant sitting on the black throne with a faint sculpture of an axe. He looked to his left and said to Primal Chaos City Leader, Primal Chaos City Leader, you should chair the meeting. Primal Chaos City Leader nodded. On the thousands of thrones crowded together, Luo Feng conversed with the other universe knights next to him and soon discovered some basic information. The thrones in the Pantheon sanctuary were divided into 5 classes. One would only be able to see the great beings, who were a class higher than oneself. As for conversing, one could initiate a conversation with someone from the same class, or someone from a lower class. Therefore, Luo Feng could only converse with 4-starred great beings, elementary universe knights, and 5-starred universe knights, secondary universe knights. As for elementary universe knights from the lower class, they were only able to converse with other elementary universe knights. Everyone, a kind and powerful voice announced. Pantheon sanctuary fell into silence within an instant. The moment Luo Feng heard the voice, he knew it was his teacher, Primal Chaos City Leader. A Supreme Council meeting is convened every time a vital matter major enough to affect the entire race occurs. Primal Chaos City Leader's powerful voice resounded throughout Pantheon Sanctuary. No one dared interrupt. This time, the Supreme Council meeting is convened because the original star is about to open. Almost all the universe knights registered shocked expressions. The original star is about to open, a few of them murmured. The original star is the center of our vast universe, the territory that billions of races fight for, continued Primal Chaos City Leader. This opening will not be an exception. If you want to obtain a true treasure, if you want to make a big contribution to your race, your opportunity is here. Here's some detailed information. Let's all take a look first. Directly in front of the densely populated thrones where many great beings were seated, a screen showed up. A set of detailed descriptions appeared on the screen. Luo Feng fixed his attention on the screen before him. The very center of the entire universe was none other than the land of origin, yet for countless years, except for the conscious mind's occasional arrival in the land of origin, no other great being was able to reach the land of origin in person. It was as though the place was imaginary, yet the original star truly existed. Altogether, there were 10,081 of them. According to the information handed out since the birth of the universe, these 10,081 original stars revolved around the land of origin. It was said to be located closest place to the land of origin in the entire universe. These 10,081 original stars were full of valuables, but also fraught with danger. There were 10,081 paths leading to the original stars, yet those thousands of paths were usually closed. But after a long period of time, the way would open once. Every time, the way to the original star would be kept open for 1,000 eras. After 1,000 eras, the star would shut. All great beings who had entered needed to make their way out before it shut, or else they would be killed. Utilizing a clone or another body was not good enough. Many of these survival techniques had proven futile. If one did not leave the original star when the path was shut, death was inevitable. No exceptions whatsoever. This was the most mysterious place in the universe. No other place could compare to it. Not only were there treasures to be found in those 10,081 stars, but true treasures also appeared frequently. Super beings of the billions of races on the universe had engaged in epic battles for such treasures. Each race fought to claim these valuables as their own. Every time a star opened, it meant there would be universe masters being killed from within. It was all very bloody and cruel, yet the potential for these treasures drove countless great beings crazy for the opportunity. Such was the nature of the original star, the place that was closest to the land of origin of the universe. Contribution, A, muttered Luo Feng as he looked to the bottom for another set of descriptions. The valuables obtained from the original stars, if obtained alone, could be kept as one's own. If you had no need for the valuable you obtained, you could offer it to the race in exchange for a contribution. The way races grew more powerful was dependent on the contributions offered by numerous great beings. In this case, a contribution could be used to exchange for other valuables. Luo Feng looked through the sets of information. One was related to information on the original star, the other was related to the detailed elaboration of contributions. It was obvious that only newcomers like Luo Feng and Tru Yang Knight, who were attending the Supreme Council for the first time, would receive this second set of information containing detailed elaboration on contributions. This description read: within the race, there are two kinds of humans. The first kind consists of those who enjoy the resources. The second kind is made up of those who contribute these resources. Ordinary humans and undying spirits are the ones who enjoy the resources. For instance, ordinary humans can enjoy peace and stability, while undying spirits, who showed outstanding performance, can receive the guidance and advice of supreme beings, or even have valuables bestowed upon them. They are the ones who enjoy the resources. Once one crosses over to become a universe great being, they are admitted to the Supreme Council. That would mean you have become a core member of the human race. The human race requires the contribution of true great beings like yourself. Only through your contributions can there be billions of humans, generations of geniuses, and immeasurable amounts of resources to use. All of you risk your lives to fight for valuable resources to offer your race. All of these will be officially recorded as contributions. You can make use of these contributions in exchange for all the valuable resources you need. Blade River Emperor Luo Feng, when you joined the Supreme Council, you abandoned your previous status as a talent, and will now be entitled to a generous quota of resources. From this moment on, you are one of the supreme beings among us humans. You are perfectly capable enough to contribute greatly to our human race, and can make use of your contributions to exchange for the resources and valuables you need. Contributions. Luo Feng said softly. Of course, he thought. Everyone in a race of beings wanted only to receive benefits. If everyone expected the race to bestow resources to them, then who would be contributing? Luo Feng understood now. It was the equivalent of a tribal community. The men were expected to head out and hunt for food while the women would plant crops for harvesting, and the children would enjoy the fruits of the adults' labor. Within a race, the supreme beings contributed so that the talents, the weaker ones, and the ordinary humans, could enjoy the resources. Only after you cross over to become one of the universe great beings can you start to contribute to the race. Realized Luo Feng. Very well, Luo Feng said softly. This is quite good, actually, as it is meaningless to always be taking advantage. The original star. His eyes were sparkling. The universe is simply amazing. Prior to this, I was unaware of such a place. 10,081 original stars. The mysterious place that is closest to the land of origin of the universe. While all the supreme beings of the human race at the Supreme Council were still in shock, Primal Chaos City Leader finally spoke again. The opening of the original star is still a whole 10 years away, he said. In the coming decade, everyone should start preparing. For instance, you could form small teams with a few other great beings, where your skills complement one another. Or you could borrow valuables from great beings, who are unwilling to enter the original star. All preparations must be done within the decade. 10 years from now, we humans shall enter the original star. In 10 years, us humans will enter the original star. The Supreme Council meeting ended after the calm voice from Primal Chaos City Leader. The door of Pantheon Sanctuary opened, and almost all the Universe Knights stood up. So soon. Luo Feng and Tru Yang Knight also stood along with the others. The Universe Knights all walked to the golden door of the sanctuary, chatting and laughing. They stepped through the door and disappeared. What are you guys waiting for? Bloody Wing Knight walked towards them. How short the meeting was. Luo Feng smiled. Bloody Wing Knight explained. I was also surprised at that the first time I attended the Supreme Council meeting. However, I grew to understand later that it takes a long time for an issue to come up that actually affects us humans. Besides, more than half of the Supreme Council meetings involve no discussions, and only Universe Masters need to know. Only those that require voting take a long time. After all, those superior Universe Masters don't have time to elaborate on the issue for us. Luo Feng nodded. It was indeed efficient. Primal Chaos City leader hadn't talked much. Instead, he had only mentioned the original star. Then the screens showed up in front of the Universe Knights, which gave a detailed description. Let's go, Bloody Wing Knight said. Okay. Luo Feng, Tru Yang Knight, and Bloody Wing Knight stepped into the golden door side by side. Nearby, some Universe Knights were talking quietly. Look, it's Blade River Emperor. Rumor has it that Blade River Emperor has at least 6 true treasures. Though he was able to kill Bark Mirror Emperor, and thus is ranked among the exceptional Undying fighters, he is, at most, a secondary Universe Knight power-wise. He'll become the perfect target for supreme beings of other races on the original star. Yes. He has at least 6 true treasures, and 2 of them are of the Soul type and the Flying Palace type. He'd just be a moving treasury on the original star. There are always supreme beings from billions of races on the original stars. The Universe Masters of other races will probably attack Blade River Emperor on sight. Universe Overlords and Universe Masters of other races will definitely attack him. What are you thinking? The weaker Universe Knights never choose to go when the original stars are open. Blade River Emperor is not stupid. Those other races can't do anything about him as long as he doesn't go. They also stepped into the golden door and disappeared. On the mountainside of Thunder Island, Luo Feng, Bloody Wing Knight, and Tru Yang Knight sat together and talking about the original star. To be precise, it was Bloody Wing Knight who did the talking while Luo Feng and Tru Yang Knight listened to him carefully. There are 10,081 original stars, and each of them is full of valuables, Bloody Knight said. Many superpowers in the universe gather there often. Those treasures or ordinary true treasures won't result in any significant fighting, whereas there will surely be horrifying battles for some precious true treasures, like those of the Flying Palace type, Domain type, and Soul type, or even senior true treasures, or top-tier true treasures. The more precious the true treasures are, the more attention will be drawn, and Universe Masters will fight to the death for them. Every time an original star opens, Universe Masters get killed. Luo Feng couldn't help but interject. Many Universe Masters have survival techniques like clone techniques. Those without clone techniques won't go to the original stars in the first place, right? This is where you're wrong. Bloody Wing Knight shook his head. There are only a few Universe Masters. A race is qualified to be a powerful race as long as there's one Universe Master among them. Even we humans, one of the pinnacle races, count just a few Universe Masters among our ranks. Few Universe Masters fear death. Although they are careful, the opening of original stars is a great chance for them to get top-tier true treasures, and they'll strive not to miss such an opportunity. If they can get some top-tier true treasures and even pinnacle true treasures, they can roam the universe with few enemies. Luo Feng nodded. He understood how useful true treasures were. For instance, Thousand Treasures River gave Primal Chaos City leader significant power, and he had been able to easily overpower Master of Sky Wolf, even with Sky Wolf Palace. The Purple Knight was one of the 72 deified generals, and he was much stronger than candidate deified generals like Pei Feng Knight and Ju Feng Knight. He actually had the power of a Universe Master. Yet Master of Sky Wolf had been able to easily suppress him with his Sky Wolf Palace. I've been there once, and I almost got killed, said Bloody Wing Knight. But just when Bloody Wing Knight was describing his experience on the original star, a shadow flew toward them. Luo Feng. Luo Feng turned around. Nine-Blade Knight. He thought. Luo Feng was dazed. After becoming undying, many universe knights had traveled to congratulate him, but Nine-Blade River hadn't been one of them. Luo Feng knew that he was supposed to be beneath him, which was probably why Nine-Blade River was reluctant to do so. His pride was too great. Nine-Blade Knight, Luo Feng greeted him, smiling. Luo Feng. Nine-Blade River also had a warm smile on his face. He glanced at Truyang Knight and Bloody Wing Knight beside him and added, "And I see you two are also here." Ha ha ha. Nine-Blade. Are you here to borrow a true treasure? Bloody Wing Knight said. Nine-Blade Knight froze a bit. Indeed, he was here to borrow a true treasure. After all, among the humans, only senior universe knights or universe overlords had true treasures. However, these supreme beings would normally go to the original stars. Few who had true treasures chose not to go. By all accounts, it was likely that Luo Feng would choose not to go, despite the fact that had at least 6 true treasures. There are no grudges between Luo Feng and me, he thought. Instead, we've known each other for a long time. I can easily become friends with him if I show him some respect. Besides, if I have a true treasure, I have a much higher chance of getting valuables on the original star. I just need to show some respect. Thus, after some consideration, Nine-Blade Knight had made the decision to come to Luo Feng. Power was the only thing that mattered on the path to becoming a great being. Other great beings would respect you only if you were strong. Luo Feng, I'm indeed here to borrow a true treasure from you, admitted Nine-Blade Knight. I'm good at close combat, so I want to borrow your true treasure armor. He knew that it was impossible for him to borrow the soul-type true treasure. Borrow a true treasure. Luo Feng was dazed. I realize it might sound a bit ridiculous. Nine-Blade Knight smiled. I'll return you the armor the moment I leave the original star, and I'll give you 10 treasures to show my gratitude. We can ask the virtual universe to verify the lending and sign a contract. If I don't return it to you, it would be as good as betraying my race. Luo Feng hesitated a bit. Would it be a bit disgraceful if he just said no? Nine-Blade Knight, Luo Feng said. I'm sorry, but... Nine-Blade Knight immediately understood that he had failed, but he persisted. Luo Feng, the original star will be open for 1,000 eras, and I can get out of there at any time. Once I get a valuable, I'll leave immediately. I might just stay there for hundreds of, if not 1,000 years. It's not that I don't want to lend it to you, Luo Feng said, but I actually plan to go to the original star myself. Nine-Blade Knight didn't know what to say. Since Luo Feng wanted to go to the original star himself, he surely wanted to be as powerful as possible. Ha ha. Well then. Bloody Wing Knight laughed. Nine-Blade, I was actually here to borrow a true treasure from Luo Feng as well, but I didn't expect you to have the same idea. Now that I know Luo Feng wants to go to the original star, however, I needn't ask anymore. I must thank you, Nine-Blade. Nine-Blade Knight smiled as well. He thanked Bloody Wing Knight secretly. His words had eased the awkwardness of the situation. Nine-Blade Knight left soon, but after only a short while, another great being arrived to borrow true treasures. Second brother, Luo Feng greeted him. A bold man in a fiery cape flew towards him. It was Gui Yi Knight. He had been with Primal Chaos City leader until now. Luo Feng, I think you've already figured out why I'm here. Gui Yi Knight stepped on the ground and looked at Luo Feng. I'm here because I want to borrow that soul-type true treasure from you. I speculate that you're not going to the original star, and that's why I'm here. After getting out of the original star, I'll return the soul-type true treasure immediately and compensate you with 3 true treasures. 3 true treasures. Luo Feng was shocked. Many universe overlords didn't have that many true treasures. Pei Feng Knight, for instance, only had 4. Gui Yi Knight spent a lot of time around Primal Chaos City leader, Perhaps that was how he got more true treasures. Still, 3 true treasures was an exceedingly generous offer. Second brother, Luo Feng said. Your offer is indeed tempting, but the thing is, I want to go to the original star myself. Luo Feng, Gui Knight said, startled, you also want to go? Luo Feng nodded. Yes. Don't you know how dangerous it is there? Gui Knight said. Ordinary universe knights are unlikely to attain any true treasures. Even if you were a universe overlord, you wouldn't be able to get 3 true treasures, if you didn't have enough to protect yourself. Luo Feng understood his logic. Gui Knight was implying that it was a better deal for him to get 3 true treasures for lending him 1 soul-type true treasure, since even many universe overlords weren't able to get 3 ordinary true treasures. Luo Feng felt conflicted. Second brother, he thought, you don't know that my soul-type true treasure is Tower Pearl, and that it already recognizes me as its master. Universe knights would certainly be killed if they tried to merge it with their souls. I'd still like to take my chances there, Luo Feng said. Okay, Gui Knight said. He nodded and smiled. Then I'll leave first. Looks like I'll need to find another way to borrow true treasures. This video will end here.